you've got, is it just one set of minutes? Yep.
We do.
So moved by Phil, seconded by Tim. Over to you.
All right, thank you. The only thing I just wanted to note on this report, there is a mention of Princess Margaret Hospital, and the board, obviously Princess Margaret is right in the middle of our ward area. We would like some more information as to what the future of that land is going to be, so that we can be involved in planning with our community. Obviously that's going to have a huge impact on, particularly on the older people in our ward, and a lot of people live near that hospital because it's so close. Live near the hospital because it is so close, and going all the way over to Burwood is going to be difficult, but we haven't been involved in any discussions, so we'd very much like to be. Thank you. That's it for that report. Now, I'm happy to do the state of the ward now.
Yeah, do the state of the nation as well.
All right, thank you. So Kara and I are both going to speak to this. So firstly, I just want to thank my board, who work really hard and who work for the most part extremely constructively and collaboratively, and to praise the staff, Grace, Faye, Jay, Sol, Emma, Annette, Wendy, and now Simon, our ranger, and Ian, Greenspace. They are really excellent, hard-working, bright and creative staff, and we're very grateful for them. The board has worked through this year and come up with some really excellent objectives, which I will read to you. Te poari hapori o te waimuki raua ko Opawaho, the Spreydon Heathcote Community Board, honours the treaty, the partnership that represents by the Crown and tangata whenua Māori, and its inherent commitment to loyally and cooperatively act reasonably in utmost good faith with one another. 2, to actively engage and partner with ward communities to advocate for the protection and promotion of social, economic, environmental and cultural well-being. 3, to encourage greater participation and awareness of the heritage, ecological values and recreational opportunities of the ward, which includes the Opawaho Heathcote River, Port Hills, parks and reserves. 4, encourage the ward-wide participation of individuals in all communities including majority and minority ethnicities, older and younger people, and people with disabilities in public and neighbourhood life. 5, promote and encourage participation in healthy lifestyles by providing opportunities for sport and recreation activities. 6, to build safer, more robust communities by promoting and facilitating the development of positive neighbourhood identities and social connectedness. And 7, to practice and support partnership, good governance and participation in local body planning and processes. Those are our objectives. Would you like to say anything, Karen?
Oh no, I was just going to highlight a couple of things that we've had recently this year. For instance, we had a women's meeting, a women leadership in the ward meeting 2 weeks ago. Went extremely well and the feedback was fantastic. They would like one every 3 or 4 months, but they're not going to get it. We looked at the gap between the people in our community who can afford their kids to play sport and the people who can't. The membership of the tennis club, and this is ordinary, is $200 for an individual, which means most families, a heck of a lot of families, can't put 3 kids into sports or can't afford that kind of subscription. We can't afford to subsidise it, but we are having a gear give. At the end of March, we're going to have drop spots all over our ward for giving away sports gear, not clothing, gear. And we're going to have a huge amount of gear that we're going to then have a gear give day on March the 28th, along with Fit Fest, which will be a sports day for Pacific people. I'd like to mention the Waltham Gates. They're in the plan for this year, 15-16. We'd like to see the work start. I'd like to mention the opening of Rowley Cottage. They've moved into a premises that are a third the size of the old cottage, and they will need big support from both the community board and council over the next year or two in order to be able to survive. They have provided enormous support for one of our poorest communities, and we'd like to see them continue successfully. And finally, our board, there's one thing I'd like to give kudos to the past for the native plantings at Ngāpunawai and Horswell Quarry, which is just outside our ward. They're coming into their prime, they're full of birds, they are a magnificent salute to the staff in the past that had the foresight to do those plantings. And finally, we had that presentation from about Pororua villages, And we'd like the City Council to take up that project seriously for our communities so that we can develop village plans in our communities, in our wards, so that the council will be looking at those plans before they develop LTPs and so on. We'd like that pursued by the council because it was brilliant.
Yeah. If I may, I'll just run through very quickly a list of issues in our ward. So the Upawahu Heathcote River, which is Helene Meltner has done excellent work on, the need to stop sewage overflows and flood mitigation and the implementation of the master plan. Safety on Cashmere Centaurus roads, which Carolyn's done excellent work on. That the main intersections with that road are dangerous. The need for a community facility in Hoonhay, growing community, Centennial and Coronation Halls are gone. There's lots of community interest and support. Accessibility, accessible parking, compliance and mapping and audit, all of which the council has committed to, and we're also waiting on Carolyn's notice of motion, getting substantive feedback around the council partnering and funding with organisations that are not housed in accessible premises. That needs following up. The board is united in wanting to protect Addington Village from any increase in the capacity of Lincoln Road, including and especially four-laning. We do not want to see that go ahead. The board is also wants to highlight how important the discussion around delegations is, and I think it would be good to discuss that in the new year, and starting with the premise that boards can do most things. And we wanted to note that we understand why the review was done the way it was, and the outcomes were the way it was, but we do regret, just wanted to note publicly that it's ended up with Sydenham and Addington being somewhat split in two, and Waltham is in a ward that has little community interest with. I know that you can't comment on that, but we just wanted to note that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good. No, thank you very much. So I will put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you very much. So now I'd like us. Thank you. That's great. What I would like to do